Vardan Hovhannisyan at his film studio in Yerevan revealed an engaging and dynamic individual, a filmmaker who sees beyond the lens of the camera and delves into the heart of any story he chooses to tell, from documenting his own personal wartime experiences to filming in Africa.
I'm looking for happy project where there's no trench, no mountains, no even Armenians, and they're happy.
Vardan Hovhannisyan, director, producer, filmmaker extraordinaire, parachutist, pilot. The first time I heard about you was 2 years ago at the TEDx conference. You were presenting a topic about pursuit of happiness, and you showcased your documentary about donkeys, which you had brilliantly called Donkeymentary. And due to the fact that I have a weakness for donkeys, I think they're beautiful animals. And you had shot this film off Kenya, right? On an island of about 24,000 inhabitants, 2 cars, and 6,000 donkeys. Yeah. How did you even find out about this particular place on the planet?
So it was quite funny because I'm always try to find a subject which is close to me. And donkey, it's something for Hayat, for Armenians, it's something which you feel connected somehow. Right. Especially me, because in school I was worst pupil and the teachers called me Eshigluch. So I think even if we talk in English, I think all Armenians know what's mean Eshigluch. Right. Every grandma say to her grandchild too. When we tired of Armenian subject, we start doing something.
Go to Africa. Yeah. And his biggest dream is to own his own donkey in an island. Yeah. And they have a donkey sanctuary.
They have donkey sanctuary. They were donkey watch the television. They read the newspaper.
That's in Obama.
Yes.
And they're Swahili.
Swahili, yeah. So that was a fantastic subject, which I find it. It's like island in middle of ocean, no Armenians, right, etc. And it's a
paradise.
Paradise. But even there, it's like offshore of Kenya, near Somalia.
Right.
When you can go to somewhere else, I would just start looking on the shore if any Armenians there, start Googling, very Armenian. And I found one guy, I found his telephone and I call and I say, hello, Toros. And it's a silence and his answer is, Barev Vartan. It was Armenian who was 7 years ago. Before that was have internship in my company. He's from Canada,
Are you kidding?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, small world.
Small world, yeah.
But I also found out, obviously, that you, during the Karabakh war, were a frontline journalist. You were in the trenches for several years, and you were even a prisoner of war. What was it that motivated you to go and participate?
So, if we talk about the war, so we'll start about the whole independence movement, which is started 1890. So it's a very, very crucial moment for Armenia and for me as a citizen for Armenia, part of Soviet Union. And when war starts, I don't want to participate in the war. I don't want to kill the people.
Right.
I don't want to be in destruction process. And I really want to escape. But I understand it's where I will escape from myself. Where I was in America, Europe, I will become immigrant. No, it's my country. I don't want to escape from country which is mine. I decide to go to the front line because I think it's mine. I think it's Armenia, Karabakh, it's my homeland. It's enough to lose the territory, enough to lose the home. And I don't want to become an immigrant. I don't want to become a diasporan. I don't want to have double personality and double country. It's mine. So if it's yours, you must pay your price. I starting the filming everything because I'm very interested. I'm very curious. I don't understand at that time. And I don't understand why I'm going to the Karabakh, but I say I go to understand why my brother go, why my friends go, why we ready for die for that. You know, I was very, very young at that time. I was 20 years old. Right. And we have fantastically different energy.
Օրինակ եթե հարկ եղավ ասեն հավաքեք ամենավերջի մարդուն պատերազմից գալու ես չեմ արկել իմ տղեր 15 տարեկան է չեմ արկել որ գա ռազմի դաշտ ու միշտ ասել եմ տղուս ասել եմ եթե ես մեռնեմ խոսք որ իմ գործը դու շարունակելու ես.
It's a big danger. We know the danger that we will lose the Karabakh. And for us, losing the Karabakh is like losing the Armenia.
Right.
You know, so it's losing the part of Armenia and losing the whole identity things. So it's no way to lose it.
Somebody wrote that this film for you was about faith, kindness, and the human spirit, and the heaviest moments of war. You shot the war not with a gun, but with a camera. So you were documenting something.
This war, it's not a terminology, because we can say many beautiful words, you know, like faithness, homeland, etc. But it's just word. In lots of schools, they teach love to the homeland, but it's just word. For people who go to the war with me or I go with them, it's more carefully. It's not just word. I just remember when we just surrounded in the trenches and we in the small holes which can become your grave.
Right.
For me, it's not a big homeland, not its word. It's just actual land. So
soil,
that you soil, and we just bullets come over, cannon blow up, you know, the shrapnel's coming out, and at that moment I feel it that it's my land in Hovhannisyan. This is a piece of whole which can be my grave. It's mine, and I'm not ready to give up. And victory, which is happening in '94, it's actual. It's not ceasefire. It's our victory.
Right.
You know, which is giving me something fantastic feeling of I'm win it. I pay the price. My friends who die pay the price for this land. Very often people talk about post-war syndrome. That is people after Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, they have post-war syndrome. We have different post-war syndrome. We are winner.
For the first time in a very long time.
Very long time. And being the ancestor of genocide victims, I'm not a victim.
Anymore.
Anymore. And it's my homeland, and I win it.
Right.
And it's mine and my friends.
It validated many things for our generation and for generations to come.
Exactly, because I'm born in the apartment, you know. Apartments are bullshit, you know. Neighbors up, neighbors down.
Right.
But when you, in the trench, when you win the land, you say, no, I'm born in Armenia, this is my country. We all ask this question, but we have different background. People who born in LA or born in like Switzerland, Armenians say, homeland, Hovhannisyan, what is for me? We have same question is.
Right.
So homeland get the value when you put your life, your time, not necessarily participate in the war, when you put your energy in this actual land.
Yeah.
If you come as a volunteer for Birthright and spend the 1 year free working like a volunteer in some orphanages, you know, orphanage or somewhere, you win the homeland. So so the feeling which is young generation to have, like villagers, nurse, people, they tell in simple word what is a homeland for them. And they tell me 100 times better than any politician, you know, any governmental worker, any propaganda worker tell what is the homeland for them and what's for me. So we share the homeland together. So that's the film about what I do about 12 years later after the war. It's about homeland. It's about why people go to the war and how the people win the war. And what difficulty they have after the war. Because the war consists of two parts for me. One part in the wartime, when we actually have front line, when the bullets fly, and the war in peacetime, when we fight about another thing, is depression,
Fight
corruption,
sometimes against each other. And we forget that there was this collective, united front, not necessarily,
because sometimes it's easier to be in the war. Like sometimes
the enemy is very clear, but here,
and your guy who near you is your friend and your brother,
your comrade in arms.
You become a brother with him. You share same last grenade and last food, but now we become very individualistic.
Yes.
Now it's a society become very capitalistic,
it seems that it's always like that in our case during peacetime. We find many things that divide us as opposed to those things that unite us. And it's during threats or wartime that we come together and consolidate our power.
Exactly.
But just one more question, and this isn't a light question, and you can feel free to answer it or not. But you were also a prisoner of war. And you were, for 2 months, I believe, for several months. Yeah. No post-traumatic stress?
It's a post-traumatic stress. It's happen if you do something wrong, and after whole life you regret. So, I became a prisoner because I stopped to be filmmaker and exchanged other prisoners. So that this is how they catch me when we surrounded when the Azeri forces surrounded the Armenian village, and they kill commanders and. Lots of people take to the Azeri prison, and we take their prison, their forces. So as I speak very well Russian, and because commander dead, I take the role of negotiator of exchange of people. So I 6 days exchange of prisoners back and forth. So return about 23 people and give them 12 people. So it's somehow I negotiate for the exchange between the prisoners. So after this exchange, when the last exchange, they take me to the prison. So when I was sitting in the jail, I consider it was lots of time to think, about life, about value, etc. So I think it's a very philosophical time. It's heavy physically, because you get lots of beating, and torturing, but it's torture is nothing. If you have in brain, if you know in ethic that you are right, and
you can withstand it?
Yeah, it's easily.
I read somewhere that you said that it was easier for you to be tortured than to hear your fellow Armenian in agony being tortured.
It's much harder to hear because, I would sit with other Armenians who are simple villagers.
Right.
They were just captured from the village.
Oh, they weren't even...
They don't know even why they take. They're not soldiers. They're not... police, they're not a fighter in conflict, they're innocent villagers, civilian, who must not be there. Right. And I know why I'm there, because I'm come to fight, I have my point, and I think it's Karabakh hours, even I do with camera, but I know why I'm there. So for me, it's much more easier. It's also giving me the feeling of the time.
Right.
Because you know that any moment the door can be, the cell can be open, they can kill you. So you
can be let free.
Yeah, but it's chance. But you start value the time.
Yeah.
And you say, what I will do, In
1993, you founded Pars Media. At a time when Armenia was still embroiled in war, there was an energy crisis, there was no heat, no water, no food. People were leaving in the thousands. The winters were cold and bitter. And you opened up a film company in 1993. At a time when there wasn't a lot of experience in that industry. Yeah. What made you think that you could succeed?
I was naive. No, it's just the question is because I filmed it from 89 to the 93. So after I came out of the jail, I was start thinking that I have unique archive of what's going on in Karabakh. And I understand that if it's only on me, it can be lost. And working alone in filmmaking, it's very difficult. So I will say, let's create a structure which will help to document what's going on in Karabakh, because we don't know if war finishes soon or not.
Right.
And I said, better to, even I don't understand what's going right now, we document it, and after years we will be understanding. But it's now important to document it. So in 93 I created the company because I said if we have 2, 3, 4 people, we'll be able to make the documentary film, able to archive properly, to film more, etc. Because at that time, governmental television,
Right.
Soviet television was paralyzed.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
old
everything else
generation
in the country.
filmmaker, there was mostly just only few people who do the filmmaking. Most of them, it was paralyzed. You know, like whole system, television people, they paralyzed because they work under control of Soviet system.
And then they didn't know.
And they don't have initiative.
Right. They had
So-
freedom, but they didn't know what to do with it, maybe.
Yeah, they don't enable, they're impotent,
Yeah,
you know. So, and when I start the company, I don't have any knowledge, I don't have any experience.
Right.
I just have idea to create the company who will produce a documentary film which will broadcast on BBC, on PBS, on the Russian television, on NHK Japan. We will do films which will tell the story from Armenia abroad.
So 20 years, almost 20 years now that Bars Media is in existence. We're in your office, you're in the editing room. Has it been sustainable? Have you been able to realize the projects that you wanted to realize? Have you made money?
I'm so happy. I'm one of the happiest person because I win the war, and I win making the company because we many time on the face of the bankruptcy. Sure. We many time face of the like impossible to run the studio, you know. But because of the people, team of the Bars Media, it's not me. It's lots of people who work with here. They put their energy, they put their blood, they like passion, time. People sometimes don't get paid by months and year, you know, like because they believe what they do. We're able to do this company. So finally, we opened the door in our film is shown on BBC, is shown in the Arte French channel in Japan. So the last film translated in 15 languages and go all over the world. We not become richer because we always do another aventuristic documentary, you know, like.
Of course,
but
always trying to break the barriers down.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
create
We
something
always
new.
try to do a new project and invest all money
Sure,
in that.
sure.
So, but at least we opened all doors in international documentary filmmaking.
And you brought a new quality to the medium, to the industry, I think, in Armenia. Somebody in describing you and the work that you do, you and your colleagues at Bars Media said, they pick subjects that are both touching for us as Armenians and compelling for international audiences. Their heroes are from our own society, they're one of us, and they reflect our reality, but at the same time, they bring a universal message and meet the expectations of European and international production companies. Just getting to know you, Vardan, I understand now why it is that you have been able to do what you have done.
So we do the different film in different parts of the world. South Pole, North Pole, Africa, Afghanistan, Polynesia, we start soon project. So in somehow, like people think, Armenia? You do that from Armenia? Hayastani? How?
How is that possible?
Why not from London and New York? But in reality, it's much more open the door from Armenia because in Africa, like when I go to some tribe with like poor population or something, I feel, it's Rabbi's people, you know, you know, like some places. Or in Afghanistan.
We can connect with the world through our behavior.
Exactly. So for me to be in Armenia, much more easy to work and in Afghanistan, and in Polynesia, and in Africa. In Afghanistan,
you're
fit
quite
very well.
accepted, I'm sure.
So in Africa, when I go to tribal life and I understand when the like English or American they talk, you know, I start speak Armenian. So like you speak like it's
There's familiarity almost.
It's familiarity sometimes, you know, like so I think if it's if we look with fresh eye to Armenia, it's a much more potential.
Absolutely.
It's much more potential in Armenia what you can
because
do.
There's so much unbroken ground here.
Exactly. Only the thing you must look not standard way.
Yes.
You know, you must come
Think
from
outside the box.
Yeah, outside of the box and say, well, we don't have that, but we have that. Why we don't do that? So it's if you still not trivial way, you have much more chance.
I absolutely believe it, and I think that the new generation who grew up in a free and independent Armenia, who didn't have the chains that shackled them to communist ideology, the new generation is really fearless in Armenia. And I think it's possible to, that's where we need to find our new energy, is probably from them to give us.
And also being in Armenia, we're a small country, but we can play with many mentality. We can be Russian mentality, we understand American mentality, we understand European mentality, Persian mentality. having the huge diaspora teach us to think in many mentality. So that was a very big advantage for my company, for me as a filmmaker, that I can play with mentality. For me, easy to work. And in Afghanistan, in the Pushtun, tribal zone of Pushtun, because I know the villages in Karabakh was traditional,
Yes.
And in London, and in Africa, etc. So, and in Russia too. So that was a strong part what we can use.
And this is a strength that we have that we don't always capitalize on.
Yeah.
That we don't always think of as a strength. Our agility, our ability to move about in different cultures and circumstances.
Exactly.
I just have a couple more things that I want to find out. Who is Vardan Hovhannisyan? The war veteran, the filmmaker, but also a father and a husband. You have children.
Yeah.
You have. And what is the life message that you want your children to take from you?
I'm not a wise person. I was the worst pupil in the school. So what I can say, sure.
Okay.
Vardan Hovhannisyan was the worst pupil in the school.
Okay.
He was dreamed to become, in childhood, to become a first Armenian spaceman, cosmonaut. Second dream to become a clown.
A clown.
So I'm between these two dreams. So I don't know who I am. So something between spaceman and clown. So it's not a message. It's I just show to my son the war, and I just want for he know the war is not Schwarzenegger films.
Right.
It's not Sylvester Stallone or romantic. It's a heavy work, and in the war, it's most important to stay human. And in his decision, he must be, if next war will be happen, he will go or not. I don't give him ready formula. I just say, look, my son, this is why your father go there. These are your father friends, and this is what I consider for me homeland. And for he have not propaganda picture.
Yes.
For he understand what is for his father, what he do. My grandfather was a priest in the Mush, and they escape. And I tell why I was in the war. So my son will do what he will consider.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, you are a storyteller, and if you were to describe Vardan Hovhannisyan yourself in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
Description.
Of yourself? No?
No, because I don't know who I am. I just try to live my life. It's too heavy question for me, because it's too simplify. I'm quite primitive person, like primitivistic, if you can say that. I don't know, I cannot.
Maybe your films will
I
give the answers.
I try to do what I'm interested. I do the two function, which is a film director, and much more often it's a film producer. So I'm initiate the project, which is documentary film, which will be done in Armenia or abroad. So I don't have artistic ambition, so at all. So if I see some other director can do the film better,
you have no problem.
No problem. So I'm happy to work with people who is much smarter, much more talented, and I'm happy to be part of process with them. So we work with.
It's a collaboration.
Exactly.
Of all the talents that are housed in this building.
We work with Armenian Identity, the filmmaker whom we work with. I'm so happy to work with him. With Ines Sahakian, she was work with Vahak Terhakopian. So it's a team of same-mind people.
Right.
And we're happy that we're able to work together.
Yeah. Sure, after all these years.
And it's
And this is all from your footage that you...
That time I was just cameraman, so now I do the filmmaking by myself.
Right.
It's interesting, it's a war give me feeling of like we are together. It's different people, different society, different level of...
That in peacetime would never have come together or met.
But so even now when I see the people which is on the street, on the bus, which is say, oh, it's from the different planet. And I say, no, but in war he may be my brother.
That's right.
So maybe And sometimes I see the people whom I don't recognize,
Right.
like taxi driver in Moscow. We just talk, we bargain about money. He's Armenian, blah blah blah. So charge so much. And I say your face familiar. And we after discover we sit in the one trench 2 weeks.
Oh,
It's just
my
15
goodness.
years later. Say, Vardan, you know, like it was something we totally different, but we are same. You know,
Yeah,
like,
I know, it's incredible.
I learn from these people so much. So it's not me do the documentary. When they say, oh, Vardan filmmaker, yes, I do actually filming, but I'm actually becoming enriched by knowing these people. I become enriched by understanding their wisdom, simple
And
wisdom.
their story.
You know,
It's
their story.
that's
So
helping you bring it.
exactly. So
To
I'm
us.
like a transition. So I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not a director. I'm not.
Okay, you are a medium through which
I'm medium that.
this is reachable to me.
Exactly. And I'm egoistically become rich by these people. Even becoming the war, I understand so much, and I'm happy to share what I understand.
Yeah, of course.
So and there, but not
Because there's a lot of love in this movie,
Yeah.
even though it's about war.
yeah, this
That-
this which is safe in the war, and I understand this that we win in this war not because we hate Azeris, but because we love this homeland. You know, like because we
Of
love
course, it's
the
a matter
Armenian.
of perspective and how you
You-
perceive.
Exactly, you can't win by hateness.
That's right.
You know, you can win by the love, and this is which is make you still human, not
Yeah,
become animal, not
that's
become a like bastard of the war, you know, killing machine, etc.
That's right.
If we talk about Vardan Hovhannisyan, if I'm not Vardan, I talk about him. I will find him. It's not so smart, not so like talented, but I'm always try to be tuned on the right. Listening to right people, like right situation, understanding, and work with the smart and good people. So that's what is make me happy in this life. You know, like
It's
so
opening
because-
up your senses to the world and letting
Exactly,
the world come
yeah.
in and then
It's-
giving
we
back.
always initiate the project which is make our life interesting when we are always learning, etc. Yeah, it's difficult because it's lots of bureaucracy, lots of paperwork,
Sure.
lots of organizational stuff, which is
Lots
drive
of-
us crazy. You know,
But
like,
it's part of the job.
but it's part of the job. yeah.
Unfortunately.
And I think it's Armenia. It's a great location for this type of documentary film studio. So.
You know, it's so refreshing, Vardan, to hear you say that, because so often, you know, we got so bogged down in problems and we've become disillusioned, and sometimes we've lost some hope and faith, and we don't believe that it's possible to do something like this that's really so impossible. It's an impossible thing what you're doing. I mean, filmmaking is a really difficult profession to be in. And to be able to do that in Armenia, in this small little land, you know, a few thousand square kilometers with, you know, barely 3 million people, I think it's phenomenal. And for me, people like you, the Vardan Hovhannisyans of the world, really represent Armenia. And you are not only the best of this country, you are the best of this nation, of wandering nomadic tribes that we are as Armenians. And so I really appreciate that you took the time, you know, to give us a little slice of your time and to explain about your passion and your history.
So that was a story what we do. We just try to always looking for a new subject.
Yeah. And I hope that you will never run out of subjects. I don't think
yeah.
you will. Yeah. You have been able to do what you have done. And we've just lost electricity, which is normal.